Hey everyone, welcome back to the Last Movie Run podcast. I'm your host, Josh Gilliam. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Alex Cantor.
Hey guys.
So today we're talking about Superman, the movie, the 2025 one, not the old one. I think it's weird we have two different movies called Superman. There's a million Batman movies with random adjectives at the bottom.
I think we should just make this episode about Man of Steel instead.
Oh, surprise guys, we're Restore the Snyderverse people and we're hijacking this. All right. So we are going to start off today with a little bit of a spoiler-free review before getting into major spoilers, because I feel like at a certain point, there's no way to talk about this without it. Like the plot kind of really gets going fast.
Yes, I thought so too. And I know we're not talking about spoilers yet, but I don't think it's a spoiler to say that I was really pleasantly surprised because I thought I'd seen a lot of the movie from the trailer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of marketing around the movie. And then like a lot of the scenes from that trailer happened in the first like 5 minutes.
I know.
Or, maybe 15 minutes. And that's basically everything that's happened. And I was like, oh shoot. And I was like, oh, I thought I'd seen stuff throughout the movie. And I was like, okay, well, check that box, check that box, check that box. What haven't I seen yet? And so I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I feel like I always knew this villain was going to be Lex Luthor, but I did kind of feel like is there going to be a separate secret villain? No, it's Lex Luthor. It's not even a spoiler. It's what they set it up to be. But I was like, could it be? Nope. Yeah, no, I thought this was a really solid take on Superman. James Gunn really did craft a world where you can just like drop into it. Like he did not hold your hand explaining who these characters are, how they function. They're like, everyone knows Superman, so I'm going to make that movie.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind as well that he's trying to, with this movie, also set up the future of the DCU. So he's trying to like incorporate lots of different characters in, which some people I've seen say is a bad thing. I thought he did a good job of it, but he's trying to do all that at the same time as make a Superman movie.
I thought he did a good job of that, but I don't know. I guess I was a little underwhelmed with the character building. And I guess it's because I want it all at once now, but this is just step one, But yeah, we got in the trailers, they say, oh, it's the Justice Gang, and we got Superman, and obviously there's no Justice League yet, but yeah, like I said, he does kind of craft this, everyone's kind of used to this big monster in New York, or I'm sorry, Metropolis, and it's just a thing they deal with. It's not like, oh my God, this man has come out of the sky and now this thing's happening and everything's fucked. Like in Man of Steel, it was his first day on the job and he's got to snap a man's neck. It wasn't like that. He was just like, yeah, I try not to kill people, but we're just, it's a job.
Yeah, I did. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think they did a good job of not trying to make it super grounded, make it comic booky. This is an established thing. We're not going to spend time on. I mean, they do spend time on sort of building out the world, but yeah, I agree what you're saying. They do sort of drop you right into it. Yeah. Although Superman is new to the world of superheroes at the time.
Fairly, yeah.
And I think James Gunn has separately talked about how, and this starts at the beginning of the movie talking about how this has been the case. This has been the state of the world for a while now.
Yeah, he does kind of open it up with like however, it's like threes he does it in. It's like 3 decades ago was Gods and Monsters, and like 3 days ago Superman did some shit. And real quick, what'd you think of
really hard to do a spoiler-free review, so you just say did some shit.
Yeah, right. What'd you think of the costuming in this?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I like the Superman costume. I was a fan of that. And well, do you mean like the superhero costume specifically, or sort
just
of
all general? Of them?
Yeah, I think I like that. I mean, the Justice Gang obviously is a corporatized version of superheroes.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a nice job of, they're trying to lean into the comic booky feel of it. And I like the way they did that through their costume design. I really like Mr. Terrific's costume. I thought that was cool.
They did him really well.
And it was they did a lot of like comic book accurate stuff. The trunks worked.
Yeah, right. They actually, I was very hesitant seeing the Superman costume, and I was really hoping it would be like a proto like suit, but it stays throughout the movie, and I honestly it did grow on me, and I think we'll see it moving forward because there's some spoiler stuff, but we'll definitely see that style of suit moving forward. Like you said, Mr. Terrific had an incredible costume. I don't know if you ever fully watched Arrow, the CW show.
No, I did not.
They tried to do Mr. Terrific in that, and it looks like the CW tried to do Mr. Terrific. It's definitely like this will be the definitive version of that character. I think Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion is really good. He's just an ass, which he's supposed to be, but and Hot Girl, I'm a little surprised didn't have as much to do in this, but I still thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. I mean, like I do like how they sort of drop you into the world without, um, assuming that you're gonna be just taken along for the ride. And but there are a lot of characters in this. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
a lot left on the cutting room floor of different development. It felt like they did a lot more with Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner than they did with Hawk Girl, but I'm sure there's going to be more from her there at some point in the future. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's sort of hard to do is balance all these characters while still making it a Superman movie. I think it was a very fine line. But if you went in like expecting to have a good time, I think it was nice.
Yeah, this was a great movie, I think. There's this isn't really a spoiler thing, but it's like just a fun thing, I think. There's a bit where Superman like flies into a room, which I think is his apartment. It's like the only time we see that room. And he just kind of sits down and he and Lois Lane have a conversation, but they look out the window like, were you helping them fight that? It's like a big, he says, a fifth dimensional imp in the sky.
Yes.
And he's like, you're just fighting some fifth dimensional imp. Did you see what they were doing in the background of that shot? Or were you like locked in on Superman and
I was
Lois?
locked in on the conversation.
So in the background of that shot, you could see Guy Gardner fighting the imp. He's made a big Green Lantern baseball bat and he's just
Oh, I did see that.
smacking the
Yeah,
imp with
yeah.
it.
I know what you're talking about.
I think that's Jim. When I think of the Superman movie, I think of that, and it's not really a spoiler because it's been talked to death at this point. But that Mister Terrific scene with the bubble,
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. The act, one thing this movie did really, really well. I mean, I think the best thing this movie did was the action sequences. I thought they
yeah,
were fantastic. And that Mr. Terrific fight scene, I think is my favorite part of the whole film. That was just
yeah,
awesome.
right,
It's him being badass, and also you get like a sort of a feel of what it'd be like to be a civilian, and
yeah,
Lois Lane's sitting there and just watching stuff happen, no idea what's going on, and you as an audience member like whoa, 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 watching it go back and forth. I thought that was really awesome. I really like
yeah,
that
yeah.
sequence.
That was honestly, it reminds me a lot of like his work with James Gunn, like the Guardians films. Or you remember the end of the first Kingsman movie where like all the heads are exploding and
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
it reminded me of that and I thought it was really good.
but there's a lot of really good action sequences throughout the film, not just that
Yeah.
one. I like the engineer Ultraman. Well, I guess we're not talking about spoilers, but
Well, Ultraman's like he's in the trailers and stuff.
yeah. But
Um,
there's some the way they shot the action scenes I thought was really good.
yeah,
I really enjoyed this.
yeah, it was really good. Before we move into spoilers, out of three Green Lantern baseball bats, how
Three
would you
Green
rate
Lantern baseball
this?
bats. I'll give it a three.
I'll also give it a three. It was really good.
I thought it was really good. I mean, there were things that it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but I still think it's definitely a three.
I think Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane are really good in this. I think the Daily Planet staff is great.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought so too.
Jimmy Olsen, his whole character is he just can't stop getting girls. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's funny how that actually ended up becoming a plot point as well.
yeah, I know. It wasn't just like a side thing. It's like integral to the film at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really good. Getting into spoilers, if you haven't seen this movie that's already made like $300 million, go see it now. Yeah, this movie, he like falls out of the sky. Would not have thought they would have opened the movie with that scene. It was in like every trailer. Him being
Yes, that's what I'm
like,
saying. I was like, okay, this is a part of the movie. And it's the first thing that happens. I was like, oh,
mhm.
okay. Awesome. We've already knocked out like the big thing I was expecting to see right at the
Yeah.
beginning. So now there's only going to be cool stuff from here.
Yeah, he's fighting like the Hammer of Bulgaria or wherever it is, and he's just getting whipped. Um, and we see that like Lex Luthor is handling the situation, and it turns out he's controlling the hammer, and it's actually Ultraman in the suit. Which, what'd you think of the Ultraman character?
Do you mean the big reveal at the end?
Yeah, we're in spoilers. It's
Okay, I see. I mean, I thought the Ultraman character is cool. He doesn't really talk much. Um, I guess I'd been spoiled before I saw the movie that it was a Superman clone.
oh, had you really? Damn.
Yes, but I wasn't expecting it to be like, two eyes pointing in different directions, like really
Like
stupid
stupid.
Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. Um, I know we're gonna talk about later about like where you think they're going next with it,
Hmm.
but I think they're maybe setting up for something with that plot, or maybe that they will or won't use. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess what they're trying to do is make this a Lex Luthor versus Superman thing, right? Not an
Mm.
Ultraman versus Superman thing.
Yeah.
So they're just he didn't have any agent. I mean, literally didn't have any agency of his own. It's just the moves that Lex Luthor is telling him to make.
Yeah.
So they're able to use that to, you know, they had a cool design, I guess, but it was really more about what Lex Luthor was doing,
Yeah.
which I thought was a useful tool to like build him up as a villain as well. But yeah,
I love how cartoonishly evil Lex Luthor is in this movie.
yeah. Oh my God, he just killed that poor food vendor. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, in the opening
When
fight sequence, there's a food vendor
yeah,
who like
and I was like, why are they taking
helps
down
him
his
up.
name? That's weird.
And yeah, he shows a like Lex Luthor has made a pocket dimension that Mr. Terrific is pissed about.
Yeah.
And
And then I mean, yeah, whatever. Superman gets trapped in the pocket dimension, and then Lex Luthor's trying to get some information out of him, and he brings in this food vendor, and Superman's like, all I did was buy some food for him. Helpfully, the food vendor says, "Oh, I don't have a family or anyone who would care about
yeah,
me."
right.
And then the sort of Russian roulette style, Lex Luthor's like, I'll take a shot every time or I'll shoot this guy every time you don't answer a question.
Yeah.
And on the second shot, kills him. And the whole theater I was in was silent when after that, like it
Mm.
sort of camera pans out, and I was like, oh my God, they did just kill him. For a very cartoony movie, a lot of people died, but not in the
Yeah.
sort of Man of Steel, like aliens
Civilians are
fighting in a
getting
city,
laser
like
beamed in half.
buildings are tumbling. Metropolis is evacuated when the pocket dimension is tearing a hole through it.
Mm.
But like when there were, they didn't shy away from having deaths. But when they did happen, it felt meaningful, which I thought was a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I was still kind of like, oh shit, they just killed that guy.
I do like in that sequence when because it is Russian roulette, it kills him on the second bullet. And instead of being like, okay, well, we're gonna get the next one. He's like, damn, I really thought that was gonna last longer.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought that Lex Luthor was going to like have a moment of like, oh shoot, like did I go too far? But he's like, oh whatever, and then shrugs it off. He was a
Yeah.
very cartoony villain. It was pissing me off too. So I thought I enjoyed it.
My favorite villainy thing he does in this is during the opening, like we see that Lois and Clark are together, and she brings up like some Twitter hate that he gets, and he gets like really
Yes.
mad about it. And then when we visit the pocket dimension, we see Lex Luthor as a bunch of mind control
Yes,
monkeys.
yes.
Whose
I think
whole
it's and now
existence to write-
anyone who gives hate to the movie can just respond with that screaming monkey. And maybe that was it was James Gunn's plan.
Yeah, and it was something
But-
like super sucks and something.
Yeah,
and he's like, I
super
can't
shit.
believe it. Super shit. Yeah.
But we're singing the praise of this movie. I do have something that I thought I gave it a three baseball bats, but I do think that a lot of the reveals and the humor was sort of a lot of the reveals I felt were lukewarm, and I thought a lot of the humor was sort of like slapstick.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Terrific opening the garage scene. They're standing in front of the garage, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I already know what's gonna happen. It's gonna take forever to open, and it does. And I'm like, haha, but I sort of saw that coming. Or when the crew of the Daily Planet are flying Mr. Terrific ship, and it like falls off the edge. I'm like, okay, well, it's gonna come back up
Hmm.
in frame in a second, and then it does. So that sort of humor, I was like, I guess it was funny, but
Yeah.
in an unexpected way. Like it was gags that we've seen a million times before in different movies. Um, and I also thought, I mean, I said I got spoiled by the Ultraman reveal, and so maybe this is like a biased opinion, but I thought that even with that, the Ultraman being a Superman clone reveal, I thought wasn't. I mean, it's surprising, I guess, plot wise, but I thought it was sort of a lukewarm reveal. Felt not super relevant. It was just like, oh, okay. And even if you didn't know the comics, it was like I felt like it was kind of in your face alluded to. Like, oh, how did he get in the Fortress of Solitude? You must have
Yeah.
had his DNA somehow or something.
Hmm.
That's like the literal line. And then there's like a couple other lines like that. So when it does
Yeah.
happen, I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Um, and also the other big, or I felt like was supposed to be the big reveal was um, Lex Luthor being like, "Oh, I didn't, create this conflict in Jarmpur because, or I didn't. I'm not killing you to stop you getting in the way in this conflict. I
Hmm.
created the conflict so I could kill you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay,
We've barely touched on the conflict. To be honest, I so don't care about it, although it is very controversial.
yes." But I
Um,
think that those two reveals were supposed to be bigger, and I felt like they weren't. So that's some things I'll say the movie could have done better. Maybe is,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not a comedian, so I don't know how you'd write the comedy better, but maybe make it less obvious and used and seen before. And then I felt like the reveals were not super relevant to the plot. They ended up just being like a throwaway line, like him saying the thing about wanting to
Yeah.
kill Superman. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. You're Lex Luthor, you want to kill Superman, you're the villain, unsurprisingly. Or just like, oh, okay, this guy is a Superman clone and he's stupid, which is why he has to be told the punches
Yeah.
and
Well,
kicks and attacks.
I like that his the first thing he did 1A was just punch him in the face.
Yeah. And that
That I
scene
thought that was good.
with Nicholas Holt going like 1A,
Yeah.
1A, 1A. That was
Nick
really good.
Nicholas Holt really was so good in this. He had auditioned for Superman originally, and James Gunn was like, "You're not getting that, but boy, do I have the fucking role for you." I think is great. A couple last things I enjoyed. I like that we randomly get the Hall of Justice, and like it's pure comic book, like exactly beat for beat what it is. I like the mom pa Kent stuff. I love a guy just being a proud dad. That's literally the whole character. And I also love that, as we said, Jimmy Olsen is just like
He's a
a,
ladies'
a
man.
million girlfriends, this guy. And I love how inconvenient it is for him.
Yeah.
There's a character who's Lex Luthor's girlfriend, which by the way, dude's just sticking people in pocket dimensions. That's not cool.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, if I break up with him, he'll put me in a pocket dimension, but I want to be with you. So I'm going to give you all this information. He's
And
like,
she gets
that's
put in the pocket
great.
dimension anyway.
Yeah, but she's like, that's great. And she's like, but what are you gonna do for me? It's like, what do you want? She's
I
like,
thought
we're
that
gonna,
humor was funny. Yeah.
yeah, I love. She's like, we're gonna spend the whole weekend together. And instead of being like, oh, it's not too bad, he goes, the whole weekend. Like, come
Yeah.
on. So a little bit of like baseless speculation here. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned like we're gonna see this suit moving forward, and that is because we get the tease of Supergirl at the end of this, which I think is fun, but she has like the exact same suit as he does.
I do think that they've already changed it. I saw some promotional material for Supergirl where they've changed a bit of the suit. I mean, I don't, I
Really?
mean, it's very similar, right?
Yeah.
Supergirl and Superman, but they changed, I think, the belt or something like that,
Oh,
and the boots
interesting.
as well.
Hmm.
So, I'm not, I don't, I never read any Supergirl comics, so I don't know how close it is to that, or if they're trying to go for a more or less comic accurate look.
Hmm. Interesting. What do you think of Supergirl showing up at the end and just like, where's my dog?
I thought it was cool. Again, I'm not familiar with Supergirl, so I was, and I zero familiarity, so I was surprised because in my head I was just like, okay, Supergirl's like Superman.
Yeah.
Um, and then her like showing up and swearing and drinking and taking her dog and leaving. I was like, oh, okay, this is
Yeah.
different. And now I'm more excited. So I thought it was useful that they put it in because I bet there's a lot of people who also had that impression.
Yeah. No, I think that Supergirl movie is going to be fun. It also makes more sense now as to when Crypto was kidnapped in the
Yes.
movie. And he's like, where's the dog? Like, he knows he's in deep shit if he did not get this dog back.
Yeah, and I like how they explained it, like because he was like, "Oh, it's a foster situation or whatever" to
Yeah.
Lois, and then it like actually was.
Mm,
They don't have to explain where crypto came from.
I thought it was good. Um, but what about this? You and I have gone back and forth on this now. The Ultraman situation, he's obviously flung into a black hole
Yes,
at the end of
I
this.
think I think there's a couple things could happen. One is they never use him again, which is like sure whatever, used a
True.
one-off
Yeah.
villain. I think at first I thought it was going to be like some sort of Bizarro situation, maybe,
Mm,
but now the theory that I'll stand by is that if James Gunn decides to pursue it further versus him just being flung to black hole and we never see him again, um, is it could be like a Superboy origins kind of thing, and twisted in some way, but he's a clone of Superman using Superman, and I
yeah.
think Lex's DNA. But I have to go back and watch some of the scenes again to see if he said that or not.
Yeah.
It might have just been Superman's DNA. But anyway, regardless, that's something. But that something could be explored as well. But also, it could just be black hole and you never see him again. So
Yeah.
at least James Gunn isn't like setting up plot points that may never be revisited. Like they could be, right?
Mm,
But it's not like, oh, you as an end credit scene of Ultraman waking up somewhere else and then we wait 10 years and nothing happens to that. So
true. And I
I
want to
would
touch
be
on
happy either way.
that in a second. So I think that's going to be like, I know Ultraman from the comics as being like the crime syndicate leader from Earth 3. So I feel like at some point we'll get like a Crisis on Two Earths situation or whatever, like the crime syndicate movie was. I know it's not just a movie, it's also a comic thing, but
The animated one?
yeah. So at some point I think we'll get something like that, where he's like in charge of the crime syndicate and like Superwoman is evil Wonder Woman. Or it could be, like you said, a Bizarro situation where he's blasted off to the Bizarro world and he comes back as Bizarro Superman. I stand by those two. And when one of us is right, on camera, someone will hand the other like $5,000 and
But either the $5,000 because that's how much we'll be making by then from this
yeah,
podcast.
exactly.
Uh, but regardless, I think we're gonna have to wait a long time to see that pan out because I think James Gunn's got a lot of other projects in the works that he's interested
Yes.
in.
Yeah. Um, and you just mentioned like James Gunn didn't want to set anything up, in case we don't see it for another 10 years. There was no real like post credit sting at the end of this. There was like a joke and a picture that James Gunn put out on Twitter like 5 months ago. And um, while I enjoyed those, I think everyone wanted like Metamorpho was in this movie and he just fucks off into the forest at the end of his
That's
bit.
true. Yeah.
I would have loved to see like Metamorpho stumbling upon some other heroes or something, but instead we got uh, Superman busting Mr. Terrific's balls about putting the city back together a little crooked. Um,
But I am not upset because I think that well, from what I've heard about what James Gunn is doing is that he's like not setting anything in stone until he's got a script in front of him. And even then, he's
mhm.
thrown out films that have the script. So, like, Supergirl is okay with showing because it has the script and is filming or finished filming. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
it's coming out next year. Um, so he's okay with, like, setting up for that.
Mm,
But anything else, you know,
yeah. And apparently what that stems
I'd
from.
rather wait and see and not be get
Yeah.
hyped about and promise something that might, never turn out.
Mm. Apparently that stems from his experience with Marvel doing the Guardians movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thor is teased at the end of Infinity War Endgame, like to go off with the Guardians, and he was like not told that He was like, I don't know how to write this character. Like, I don't put him in my movie. I don't want to use Thor. And that's why they had to get rid of him during Thor Love and Thunder. Like, he
Oh, I
was
see. Right at the
immediately
beginning.
ditched. And so like Adam Warlock at the end of the second Guardians, that's the post credit scene. He
Yeah.
did not want to introduce Adam Warlock in that way, but Marvel was like, "Oh, we filmed this scene and we put it at the end of your movie." So he's trying to avoid doing that unless it's like Thanos is coming, but or like Apocalypse is gonna shoot into the sky and be another planet. Something
Yeah.
like
I mean,
big
I think
studio
the
concrete.
way Marvel does it is all their movies are sort of in the same tone and moving
Hmm.
forward as one cohesive cinematic universe. Whereas it feels as though what James Gunn is trying to do is make a bunch of totally separate movies that might end up working together in some way, but could exist on their own.
Yeah.
For example, Matt Reeves' Batman, right?
Mm.
So I'm okay with it. Well, I mean, we'll see where it goes, right? We're at the start
Yeah.
of what will hopefully be lots more to come.
Yeah, and I know the next thing we're getting from this is Peacemaker season 2, and like you said,
I'm excited
Supergirl's
for that.
about done.
I can't wait to
I'm
see
also
Peacemaker.
excited for that.
Yeah.
And after that, I know we're getting a Wonder Woman origin, like a Themyscira
Okay, I
origin,
didn't know that.
Paradise Lost. We're
Actually, what I
getting
want to see is the Lanterns show. I'm excited about
Yes,
that.
I was gonna say Lanterns is coming up. We got a recent promotional image with Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and they're just in normal clothes walking on a road. It's literally it's
Yeah,
so nothing
I'm excited for
special
like
about it.
buddy cop Green Lantern movie. Will be cool.
Yes, and supposedly Guy Gardner will show up in that as well. So
That'll be fun. I like Nathan
yeah,
Fillion played him really well.
yeah. So that was Superman. I thought this was a really good cinematic start to this universe.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I had to do a lot, set up this whole new universe, and also be a Superman movie, like the definitive superhero for DCU, arguably. Um, and although there was maybe some weak spots, like I talked about with the twists and the humor, but I still enjoyed it, and I really like the action sequences, and I really like the story they told, and I felt like Superman was Superman.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I can't wait to see what James Gunn is about to do with the rest of this universe.
Also, the soundtrack was super good, and I forgot to talk about it, and they cooked.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to our review of Superman. If you like this, you can listen to our other movie reviews on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And we will be back, I think, next week to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps.
In a world where everyone has a podcast, two guys made another podcast.
I'm Josh Gilliam.
And I'm Gary Torres.
And we're the hosts of Trading Paperbacks, a podcast all about comics. We cover our new release rack, the best of the pull list, and everything we've been reading in between. If you want that and more, you can find Trading Paperbacks on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, and of course on any and all Fourth Dimension broadcasting channels. We hope to see you there. Hey everyone, welcome to Hit or Miss, where we look at an old thing or a new thing that maybe had mixed reviews and we decide if it was a hit or a miss. I'm Josh, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Alex. First of all, remember to leave a like. Alex, did you remember that there's a new Fantastic Four movie coming out?
I did remember. I've tried to keep myself away actually from the trailers.
Well, what if I told you that's not the first Fantastic Four movie, and that there's another much more violently 2000s take on the team out there?
I have to see it to believe it.
All right. Yeah, we're taking a look at Fox's 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Oh my God, this movie is like in your face 2005 at certain
So
points,
true.
like it's violent. Yeah, so this is the first time we got a theatrical release for a Fantastic Four movie. There was an attempt in the 90s. It was a whole thing. It was like the executive said it was never meant to release, but also no one on the cast and crew knew that. Stan Lee apparently visited the set and was like, "You guys are doing great," and would go to Comic-Con and be like, "What a fucking piece of shit they're making over there. It's never going to see the light of day.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's highlighted more in the Doom documentary, the story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, if anyone's interested in that. But eventually the rights stayed put, and we ended up with this. Alex, what'd you think of this movie?
I think it was a hit. I enjoyed it. Well, I don't know what it was at the time. I was 3 years old,
Well,
but
yeah.
I enjoyed it. Or, when I did watch it, when I was younger, and now when I'm watching it for this episode.
Yeah, so you and I obviously grew up with these movies a little bit. Like this was kind of pre MCU. Like the Fox has been doing X-Men, so they felt confident and like, well, let's throw the Fantastic Four in here. Sony was knocking it out of the park with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man franchise. So they tried to do this and it did not work the way those did.
Did it really not? Did it
No,
not
so this
go-
actually at the time got mixed reviews, but I enjoy it. I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty good.
I think maybe too. I'm watching it now after like a lot of superhero movie fatigue, and then but like in recent movies that's come out. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Maybe knowing what it was too. Movie from 2005, start of the sort of movement of like what the MCU would become. I mean, all those
Yeah.
aren't tied into the MCU. I just mean what that franchise would do. And yeah, I really liked watching. I thought it was a very fun depiction and good depiction of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. We'll get into casting in a second. I want to talk about the story real quick. I think this had a really solid opening with Doom and all of his investors, and I did not remember this movie starting that way. This had been some years since I had seen this movie.
Yeah, but also it's like didn't the exact same thing happen 3 years previously with Spider-Man? Green Goblin.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't do this to me. And then
Yeah.
they're like, wait, that worked. Let's do the exact same thing. His investors throw him out, and then, like, he kills some dude. The
Yeah.
villain's arc ensues.
Yeah. Kills a guy to hide some wacky science.
Yeah, and then just leaves as if they're not going to, like, the police are going to be like, I wonder who he had a meeting with. I mean, sorry, that's plot holes. But, like, leaves a dead doctor on the ground, basically.
Yeah. I think the space station scene where they get their powers is incredible and far superior to the whatever we got in the 2015 Fanforstic movie.
Yeah.
I think
also, like, there's some, especially with Reed, there's some CGI. But I allow it because it was 2005, so I still enjoyed it.
yeah, there's definitely some CGI for the time. I actually think they do the Human Torch pretty well.
Yeah, I thought so too.
The Invisible Woman, I guess it's pretty easy to do something when you can do it practically because you just don't have Jessica Alba there and everyone's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
film the scene
what's
twice.
brushing past me, But yeah, Reed is always like is this CGI going to work or not? Because it's like the uncanny valley of it.
Yes.
Obviously, they did Michael Chiklis's The Thing practically, which is something he actually pushed for.
Yeah,
As a fan of the character.
Reed's CGI gave me like Jim Carrey's The Mask vibes.
Yes.
When he's like falling down the Baxter Building or whatever, and I was like, okay.
And-
I thought I liked that was practical effects.
Yes. This
Ben
is
Graham.
actually Stan Lee's favorite depiction of The Thing on screen.
Oh, really?
Of the 3 we had
Yeah,
for him.
I guess what you just said about the things he said about the 1990s movie. So
Yeah. Which for that was also a practical suit, but I guess he hated it. Yeah. I also think this is the best Doctor Doom we've had on screen.
true, but like, what are you comparing it to, right?
The 1990s one and the 2015 one.
Yeah. So there, I think that like it's difficult. You can't say it's the best one we have on screen. That doesn't necessarily mean anything compared to the other depictions.
Well, admittedly, yeah. Well, I even think he's better in this than he is in the sequel to this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think the movie was more about the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
He, as a villain, was just there to like, I don't know if when they were developing the movie, they had in mind like, future movies. Like if they're already planning out Galactus and all that stuff. But he sort of existed to get the Fantastic Four together, both in the literal
Yes.
sense, like he sends up to the space station, but also like as a team, he's sort of like a MacGuffin, if you will, of like this is them learning their powers. It's more of a Fantastic Four as a group movie, and Doom just happens to be there to get that to happen, and they chose him as the villain because he's the classic villain for the Fantastic Four. But as a maybe a bit of a shallow villain by himself, like motivation wise.
Yeah. I do think this, I think you're right, where he's like, oh, I need to assemble the team, give them something to punch. I need to stick them on a space station and yell at them when things go wrong on the space station. But this is like a lot of the Fantastic Four just doing like antics.
Yeah,
Like the bridge sequence, I think is very famous now because everything that happened on that bridge is their fault.
yes. Also, I mean, we can talk about like the depiction of it is 2005. It was a different time. But the Invisible Woman simply did not need to strip naked and push through that crowd.
No.
Like I don't know what that was, and then they just sort of like meet up at the front. So it's like the other,
Well, that's
Reed,
what's
Reed
more
and Johnny
baffling.
Storm could get through fine. So why she need to do all that? But
Yeah. So they make her take her clothes off twice in this. Once when they need to get her from point A to point B in her underwear. And the second time, just seemingly like for fun, she's getting chased by paparazzi. And instead of like going into a building or something, she's like, oh, damn, I got to get naked again. I can't believe I'm doing this.
yeah,
I think she even says, like, I can't believe I'm doing this again.
probably how the actor felt.
It is. I know that Jessica Alba is not looked back upon fondly as being Sue Storm. And I know that she had a lot of struggles with the director. The director almost made her quit acting altogether during the filming of
Wow.
the second, Tim Story. Yeah, there's a big thing where he said, I need you to cry pretty. I need you to be emotionless, cry pretty. And then ultimately they made her just kind of stare flatly and they CGI'd a tear onto her.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think that she's felt a bit objectified in the movie, and
Highly, yes. But I know she's not looked fondly as Sue Storm. But you know who is seen fondly is Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
I thought. I mean, yeah, also think that Reed was a really good depiction of Reed Richards. But yes, you're right, and I like the dynamic between Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm.
They play that so well. I know Michael Chiklis was a big fan of the Fantastic Four comics, and Chris Evans at the time was just really good at playing an asshole. So yeah, I thought they're like the whipped cream bit where he's putting whipped cream on, his making them splat. Like it's all really fun. I also think when they get their powers, Reed and Sue or whatever, like he stretches and catches a bottle, so her hands turn invisible. The Thing feels almost like a horror sequence, like he's tossing and turning and he runs off into the woods and he emerges a rock monster.
Well, interesting you say that. I think that we're not talking about this movie today, but in Fan Four Stick, I think it was originally sold to the studio as a horror film or something like that.
Was.
Because them getting their powers, that is like all of them getting their powers feels very horror-y.
Yeah.
For this, it was sort of like cheesy horror flick. There's a hole in the wall and monsters rush off into the woods.
Yeah.
But, it is like it's a messed up thing. Also, what's more messed up is his wife just leaving him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh my God. They introduced his wife just for her to run away just so they could set him up to be single to, like, I guess, do the Alicia, like, Ben Grimm plotline. I felt bad for that guy, but I thought it was worth it to see him in a trench coat and a hat.
Absolutely, yes. That's such an iconic look. They're doing it again in the new movie. So the Thing gets his powers and he runs off in the woods and tries to get his fiance and is left. Reed and Sue, it's like, oh, I caught a bottle, my hands are invisible. The Human Torch, man, he's just flirting with a woman, catches fire, and then presumably has this crazy outdoor self-made jacuzzi sex. Like that whole scene with the snowboarding is the most 2005 thing ever put to screen. I think that's it's one of those pop punk bands. I think it's Sum 41 is playing in the background.
Yeah, I actually, what I also thought was the most like 2000s film thing was all the super obvious product placement. There's a
Yes.
scene at the
There's
end of the
so
movie
much.
when Johnny is like goes supernova or whatever. They're trying to kill Doom,
Mhm.
and Reed Richards is like, Sue, can you control this? And then it cuts to her, and there's like a brisk lemonade truck that's fallen over just over her shoulder. So like half the frame is her like doing the force field stuff, and then half the frame is like brisk lemonade. I just thought it was really funny.
It's like in the original like Superman 2 from the 70s. There's a bit where he flies into a Marlboro Red truck. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. But was it a hit? No, would be the
Oh,
quick
you
answer to
mean
that.
like at the time was it a
At the
hit?
time. At the
Yeah, okay.
time and still seen today. So at the time the film was released, it got mixed reviews due to a weak story, lack of depth, and the character casting was praised, bar Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman.
I think that if you're a fan of the Fantastic Four, it's a fun movie because there's a lot of Fantastic Four as a team character development. Like we were saying, Doctor Doom exists there to like, you know, make Reed decide to pursue Sue.
Yeah.
Or like piss the thing off or get him to become Men Grim and then decide he's okay with what he is, stuff like that. So I can see how it's like sort of a weak story in the sense of team of superheroes fighting bad guy. That is sort of weak, especially at a time when all the same thing is happening, right? With all the other movies, we
Yeah.
talked about how that had just happened with Oscorp, the investor thing.
Mhm.
But if you're a fan of Fantastic Four, it's fun to like have it primarily focused on the Fantastic Four and their relationship with each other and building that, and like making them, from just a bunch of people that happen to be on the space station to the Fantastic Four. And then again, I don't know what they had in mind for the future movies. It's with something like Superman, all you have to do is introduce Superman, and then you have side characters like Lois Lane and stuff. Jimmy Olsen or whatever. But with the Fantastic Four, you have to have four totally unique, developed characters who are all sort
Yeah.
of the main character, and they all have their own character arc. And it's hard to do that and also put a villain in, so they just decided to just stick the villain in.
Yeah.
So I can see why maybe it was a miss at the time, but I think because I wanted to see the Fantastic Four develop, it was fine. Also, they just killed Doom at the end. Crazy. I just wanted to throw that in there. They like encase him in metal, and then he's just survived some super hot flame, so presumably he is still alive.
He is, because he's like blinking and stuff at the end.
And then like people are just like standing around. Brisk lemonade truck is there. They're like woo yeah, and then he's just like can't move, like imprisoned. Hey man, that's the villain arc right there. Is watching everyone cheer for the people who pissed you off,
Yeah.
and like, well, yeah, you're just encased in metal, still alive.
I do understand the weak story part, because outside of this, what do we really get? They're up on a space station. They get their powers. Thing loses his fiance. They do the bridge. They cause an incident and they get cheered for solving their own problems.
Yes.
I think there's like a motocross bit. Then all of a sudden the Thing needs his powers gone. We take him away. He's immediately like, "Ah, shit, I need those back." And then we fight Doom.
Yeah,
It's over.
You just got them back to go fight Doom. But presumably, with enough power, they could just turn him back.
Yeah,
now that they
right.
fought Doom and they won.
They did it once. They could just do it again.
He doesn't really come to terms with being who he is. He's just like, oh, I guess I need to do this right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're saying.
That is a good point. They could just do it again. Like they did it once.
Yeah.
They could just be like, all right, loop Chicago into the power grid. Like we're gonna turn this man back to normal. And he doesn't really come to terms with like, oh, I'm this guy now. He's just kind of like, shit, I guess I gotta go punch something.
Yeah, and then they
right.
cut and then it's clobbering time, and then he has like Alicia all over him.
Yeah. I don't know. It is kind of a weak story, but I think because we grew up with it, maybe we're like we got that nostalgia goggle.
Yeah,
or maybe we
maybe.
just know it is what it is.
Yes, and having seen worse depictions since.
That is true, because when we were teenagers, Fanforstic came out, and that's far worse than this.
Yes.
So, because I don't even hate the 2007 follow-up, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I don't know the last time you saw that.
I thought the depiction of Galactus was weird, but
Big Cloud.
Big Cloud.
But what if I told you that this film grossed $333 million at the worldwide box office at the time on a budget of $100 million?
Adjusted for inflation, that's
some money.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
That's a little Man of Steel Superman joke for my fans out there.
They obviously got a sequel based on those numbers, which we got 2 years later. And this was...
how can it be a miss at the time, but it made that much money?
So it was critically a miss. And it could have made more money had it not been so like... This was like the first Fantastic Four depiction. So people went to see this. And obviously, based on how the second movie performed, this did not continue. This was more of a like, oh my God, the Fantastic Four are finally on the big screen. But people weren't necessarily like thrilled about it. It's like the Phantom Menace made a shit pile of money, but people are like, oh, maybe that wasn't a
and maybe
good
they were
movie.
like, shit, we sort of used up Doom already just to get them together. I mean, yeah, it's crazy that they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're from Latveria. You know what I mean? Like they tried to tie the backstory in.
Yeah, they try to, but it just doesn't even matter.
Maybe they're like, yeah, I've used up this villain already. What do I do for a second movie? I mean, there's other villains that Fantastic Four faced, but
They do, but they just do Doom again. I don't know, like, if people like this, maybe we'll come back and do the Silver Surfer in an episode or two, or Rise of the Silver Surfer. Hell, maybe we'll cover all the Fantastic Four movies at one point or another. But
I'll watch the whatever one.
It's terrible, and it's like unfinished. Famously, they weren't able to finish it before Marvel buried it. There's copies floating out there.
Oh, so I have to go on the black market to get a copy.
I think it's just up on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well, it was gonna sound really cool. I was gonna come back in a couple episodes and say, yeah, I went on the black market and got a copy. But
So that was
I'm
like
just going on YouTube.
Marvel deleted all of the known, like Avi Arad, famous Spider-Man like ruiner. He bought the rights to that film and like burned the main copies. Is how the story goes, but somewhere along the way it must have gotten out because like VHS copies started circulating in the 90s and early 2000s. We both agree this was a hit for us.
I think this is a hit.
This was fun. Yeah, but let us know what you thought. Was this a hit or a miss? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video and want more, then you could check out the podcast this is technically a part of, The Last Movie Run, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find the full audio of this as well as other stuff, like our comic book podcast, Trading Paperback, or our short segments, the Hollywood Minutes. And we'll see y'all next time when we maybe do Rise of the Silver Surfer, or maybe something we'll actually enjoy. Wouldn't that be nice to cover a movie we actually think is good instead of like Fanforstic and Rise of the Silver Surfer? All right. We'll see you all next time. Bye.